Ransomware, it sounds like a scary word, and you might say, well, if somebody does ransomware for me for 20, 30,000, it won't be the end of the world. Well, the ransomware amount is usually the smallest part of your loss. Here's a case where these hackers hacked into a computer for a small business, and they said, hey, give us $80,000 and we'll unlock all your computers. And they think, well, we can negotiate and maybe that'll be the end of it. Well, in this case, the total recovery cost was almost $500,000. When ransomware hits your business, the payment that's demanded is just one line of a long list of losses you'll have. Here's what businesses actually will pay when you get hit and what cyber insurance pays versus what comes out of operating cash. So the demand is often calculated as a percentage of estimated revenue. The hackers and the scammers will do some research on your business and find out how much you make. Sometimes they find out by when they hack your email, they'll just look at your P&Ls and see what you make. Typically, a small business is asked for anywhere from $25,000 to $200,000. Now, when that happens, as a business, you have a decision to make. Do you want to involve your legal counsel, the FBI, your insurance carrier? Do you want to pay it, not pay it? Either way, that's the smallest piece of the cost. First of all, you have to do a forensic investigation. Even if you pay the money and they release your computers, you have to find out, well, how they got in. Because if you don't close that gap, somebody else could get in too. That's also required by your insurance company to validate the claim. Now, if you have a very good cyber insurance policy, they will also do that forensic investigation for you. They'll actually do the technical discovery to see what happened. In some cases, you're required by law to do a forensic investigation to find out how the hackers got in, because you might have to do a data breach notification to the public. If you have any kind of public records, customer records, government records, and a hacker got in, your state or federal law might require you to disclose to any party that has a potential breach of their information. Plus, you have to find out how they got in and close the breach. You're probably going to have to hire an outside company for that unless you have a cyber policy that covers this kind of thing. These specialized firms that do it can charge $20, $30, $40, $50, $100, $200,000 for this. The next thing you're going to lose is the interruption in your business flow. Now, you might have BI or business interruption insurance, but it's only triggered with a covered loss. If you don't have a cyber policy, a hack or a ransomware isn't a covered loss, so your BI is not going to kick in. So if your business is offline during the attack, even if it's 5, 6, 7 days, think about how much revenue you could lose in the course of a week. You're going to lose productivity. You might have some staff who are on commission or incentive that's going to lose income, that you might have to cover that for them. If you're a service business, you might lose client trust and ongoing repeat customers. If you're a manufacturing company, you could miss contracts, you could miss delivery dates. This is usually the biggest cost of a ransomware attack, is the business interruption. And it could take, even if you get back online in a week, it could take a few more weeks after that to get back ramped up. Then you're going to have your notification and credit monitoring. If your customer or employee data is accessed, which it almost always is, you're legally required to notify those consumers and individuals. Every state has different requirements. The federal government has requirements. You may have to mail notifications to thousands of people. You might have to pay for credit monitoring for those people for 1 or 2 years. That could be $10 to $20 or $30 per person. If you have 1,000 people that are customers, vendors, and employees, that could be 50, 60,000 by the time you figure mailing notifications, credit monitoring, and sometimes even statutory fines and penalties. Which brings me to legal and regulatory. You might have to notify your attorney general in your state. Depending on what business you're in, you might have HIPAA or FERPA requirements or state privacy laws. You could even get customer lawsuits. You could get consumer class action lawsuits. Defense costs for those add up quick, hundreds of thousands, easily. Next, you're going to have expense for restoring your system. Even though your system might be back online. There might have been damage done. You might have to rebuild databases. You might have to update the date range on your calendars and your workflows. Your customer management system might have gaps in it now. You might even need to buy new hardware because the hardware might be compromised. Maybe even new routers and endpoints, and then you're going to have the IT contractor time to put all that together because you're not upgrading systems. You're starting from scratch. So if you add all that up, the ransomware itself, the forensics, the interruption, the notification, the legal, IT, you could be $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 easily. We've seen companies that had $1 million. If you don't have a very good cyber liability policy, that's all out of pocket for you. A good cyber policy covers all or most of that. A cyber liability rider on top of a GL probably is not going to cover a great deal of that, or if at all. Cyber attacks of various types are the most common type of business risk that exists right now. If you have coverage for fire insurance, great. If you have coverage for general liability, if somebody gets hurt, that's great. You have coverage certainly for work comp. You have to have that. Those risks are much lower than the risk probability of getting a cyber attack. So if you have coverage for those, you probably should at least look at cyber liability. If you click the link below, riskcoverage.com, we can review your business profile and your footprint very quickly and easily and tell you what it would be to get a good cyber policy that would give you some peace of mind so you don't have to worry about your business being at risk financially.